The road has finally run out. Derby County have been relegated to League One. Here is how it happened. Derby are down, and whilst I'd love this to be a video about football, the off-pitch stuff is probably going to take precedence for a lot of this video. Over the past decade, Derby had been more a team challenging at the top of the championship. Indeed, they lost in the playoff final twice in the last decade to QPR and to Aston Villa. But for various reasons that I think have been covered to death now, Mel Morris, the former owner in the EFL, butting heads, and this has probably been a long time coming. It looks like Mel Morris a couple of seasons ago tried to pull the belt in and run things a little bit differently. But, well, the sanctions were on the way and the warnings were there. Last season, Derby so close to going down, surviving by 1 point. Look, lost their 5 games prior to final day, and that crazy draw with Sheffield Wednesday on the last day where everybody was safe at 1 point. But when the music stopped, it was Derby who survived to be in the championship in the 21-22 season. The season started with Derby pretty much everybody's favourites to go down. The off-pitch issues were just looking like they were going to be far too much. We didn't know whether there was going to be a full squad of players ready for the first games. Loads of contracts had run out. Loads of players had gone as well. And it really just looked like Mel Morris had kind of thrown his cards in and was done. We were expecting a point sanction at some point as well. So it's no surprise that it was a bit of a bargain basement pickup. Wayne Rooney did what he could. Bulldog, Allsop, Stearman, Jagielka Plange, Morrison came in to bolster the squad. We said at the time it was just get anybody you can. Actually turned out to be quite a good window, and Derby got the best out of their disparate bunch of freebies, but it was always going to be tough from the word go. Those people, including myself, who had tipped Derby for relegation, were basing this on a potential profit and sustainability points deduction coming at some point during the early part of the season. It actually was worse than that, as Mel Morris put Derby into administration on September the 17th. Of course, we all know what that means. An immediate 12-point deduction and, generally speaking, assets stripped, and the club really on a hiding to nothing from that point. 2 months later, and the 12 points deducted became 21 points deducted, as a further 9 came off for what we expected, the profit and sustainability breach. Look, we've debated this to death. We've talked about it to death. I'm not really interested in the whys and wherefores and going back into history. We've done that plenty on the channel. Needless to say, this goes back to Derby's amortisation policy. I think 16-17 we can go as far back. Whatever your view on it, they were found guilty. They were deducted 9 points, and it pretty much, coupled with the administration, really meant Derby were odds on to be relegated. Once those points were hacked off, we were all reaching for our calculators to try and figure out what it might actually take for Derby to pull off the miraculous escape. My sense throughout the season was Derby would basically have to function pretty much as a top 10 team and score high 60 points to even get themselves above the line once that 21 points was going to be deducted. For a little while, they actually had a good crack at this, and there was a real sense of siege mentality around Pride Park. It was full, it was noisy, and look at that little run of results. That's straight after the second points deduction. 5 wins in 9 games, also victories against Bournemouth, West Brom and Sheffield United in there, all parachute teams there. Hey, if they'd kept that going over the next 9 games, then perhaps we might not be sitting here today. But look, it was always going to be a tall order once those 21 points have been hacked off. If you are enjoying this video, even if you're a Derby fan, you're probably not enjoying this video, please hit the like button and support the channel. Obviously, most people will conclude that it was the points deduction that in the end did for Derby. I think there's one little extra bit of nuance that you need to add to that, because it's almost not. I look at the home form and the away form and kind of think what ultimately relegated Derby, in reality, on the pitch, was their away form. Derby's home form, absolutely brilliant. And this is prior to round 43. I'm filming this. But look at that. 4th in the division. 40 points from 21 games. That's not just good. That's excellent. We always look at the 2 points per game metric to be an automatic promotion team. And Derby not too far off that. What really has dragged them down this season has been their away form. Again, this is filmed before round 43. And look at all those defeats in there. 13 in 21 games. Only 2 wins all season away from home. If Derby had even been close to a point per game survival form, with that home form, they would have been a lot closer. Yes, of course, you can add on the 21 points and Derby survive easily. But looking at what actually happened, I really do think the away form is as big an issue as the points deduction in terms of on-pitch activity. And so the big question is, what next for Derby? There's been plenty of rumours about more back and forth with the EFL, and if certain standards are not met in terms of the takeover and the administration, and we think Chris Kirchner's close to having everything sorted there, could there be another points deduction next season down there in League One? Look, Derby are a big club, but there are plenty of clubs that have been big clubs and gone down to League One, and it's a very hard division to get out of. And if you look up there, I speak as an Ipswich Town fan who knows only too well what a historically reasonably successful club not many decades ago, what struggles those clubs, I'm sure Sunderland fans and Oxford fans and Portsmouth fans, etc., would all admit the same thing. The squad at Derby, okay, it was a sort of disparate collection of free transfers, but the young players that have come through have been so good. Cashin is in now at centre-back. Buchanan, we've heard bids for him. Thompson, Watson, Bird, Sibley, Knight, Stretton. Planger's obviously gone out to Crystal Palace. Ebosele, we think, has gone to Udinese. But can they hang on to any of those players and build a team to take on League One with the youngsters? I think a lot of it will depend on those 2 blokes there on the right, Wayne Rooney and Liam Rosenia. Look, there's the normal Rooney derangement syndrome that means people tend to be very extreme in their opinions about Rooney. I think just because he's so famous and such an iconic figure. Let's try and rein it in and not be extreme and say he's either the most overrated thing in the world or the best thing or the worst thing in the world, whichever way around you want to do it. Let's just say they've had a pretty good crack at it. Ultimately, they've failed, but they've failed a pretty hard challenge with the minus 21 points and not many players. I happen to think that they do have a good thing going, the 2 of them there, and I wonder whether, if persuaded to stay for another season, maybe some of those youngsters might stay and hang around with Wayne Rooney and have a crack at League One. But I do reiterate, don't ever assume that a championship big club will automatically just bounce straight back from League One. Please do get involved in the comments and let me know, how do you see next season looking for Derby? I'm really interested in a good debate about what's going to be the right thing to do going forward for Derby and how they're going to get on now relegation is confirmed. If you are tempted to go for the hilarious, banterous, mocking, no, you got relegated type comments, just know that that's probably more suited to the primary school playground than this channel, where we hope to have a debate about football and we don't hold fans of teams accountable for the actions of the owners of their club that they had absolutely no say in. With that being said, do get your comments in, do hit that like button. Derby are down. For a fleeting moment, a few times they've looked like they were going to escape. And I was actually at their last home game, if you want to check out the vlog of my experience of Derby versus Fulham, you can do so right there. In the meantime, hit like, get in the comments. Commiserations to Derby, who prepare for life in League One.